Yes, it's the Monday after the weekend review, and what a beautiful week of football we had this past week. Amazing games, amazing results, goals galore. It was just pure beauty. I will not lie, the biggest game with the biggest scare, if I'll put it that way, was the Manchester United versus Coventry game, where we would have seen the biggest upset in FA Cup. Because if Man United had lost that game, let me stop there. But then we have the Classico. It was an amazing Classico, although we lost. And yes, I'm still back to my point. We were robbed. Outside that, we also had games in the Premier League and stuff like that. Bayern Leverkusen has refused to lose. Refused to lose. Now, these are the results of the games that went down from the French League down to the Premier League. With PSG having a big game against Lyon. I wouldn't call it a big game anymore because Lyon isn't much of a big team anymore. Losing, PSG winning that game 4-1 and Lyon losing. Mbappe not even played at all in that game, but PSG found it comfortable. Bayern Leverkusen, Bayern Munich winning as well. Down to the Premier League where Arsenal and Liverpool got the job done. And then we had the FA Cup with beautiful results. But first off, we start from the Classico. What an amazing game of football. There are three things that I need to talk about when it comes to the Spanish League and the Classico. First off, I'm starting with Xavi as the coach of Barcelona. Now, we know that he'll be leaving come the end of the season. But I think at this point in time, it's fair to talk about Xavi's attitude towards the game. Now, I can understand your passion for the game, how you always want to win and stuff like that. But Xavi's attitude on the touchline is a thought for concern. At this point in time, I feel that man, after the season is over, he needs to go for some anger management session because, Jesus, Xavi this season alone must have backed up to 6 red cards, if I'm not mistaken. He has put himself in that situation whereby he is constantly being too aggravated by what is going on the pitch, and it's affecting. Yesterday was the first time that he managed to keep his cool because he would have been another red if he did not. Although his actions did not reflect well, it is not helping. As the coach of Barcelona, you should have a little bit more calmness. Every coach that's coached Barcelona before now, yes, every coach has their coach tantrums, but Xavi's case is a special exception that needs to be looked into. Man needs to calm down. Someone tell Xavi to calm down. And then we go to the Classico proper. What an exciting game of football. Goals, intrigues, and controversies. This controversy, I will talk about it because it affects me as a Barcelona fan and my club. Yes, the game started well. Christensen getting the first goal. It was a good goal. And Vinicius getting the equalizer. But then before we go into more details of the game, we have to talk about Valquez for a moment. Now, for those of us who was Valquez before now, we know that Valquez was a winger before he was then, his position was then changed to a right back. As a winger, I would say he wasn't such a bad player. He wasn't. And then when drifted back into right back, he didn't have enough games. But one of the things I can say about that man is when he is given a chance to play, he always performs. And yesterday was no exception. Valquez came into the game, he was dominant. I'm telling you, he basically dominated João Cancelo. He did. First off, Kabisi made a wrong tackle. He was able to create the penalty that Vinicius Junior scored, and he got a goal himself, which was the second goal for Real Madrid. What a goal from Valquez. A good cross, a good finish. Vini ended up repaying the favor with that cross, like crazy. And then Barcelona managed to equalize through Fermin. In fact, at this point in time, it is fair to say that Fermin needs to start more games. I love Ilkay Gundogan, but the man's legs are not moving fast enough for the pressure of the game right now. Looking at that man's legs, they cannot keep up with the pace of the game. Knowing that, Fermin needs to start more. Yes, they say he's young, but then he's playing better. We've got to also take a moment to talk about Kabisi, who, I will not lie, first leg against PSG, the first time I had to see him play, he did an exceptional job. I will not lie. But after that first leg, the next time I saw him play was against Cadiz. He made some errors in that game that I did not sit down so well with. The boy loves to go lunging first. And as usual, he launched the tackle. Yesterday, he left a leg out, which caused the penalty. And it is fair to say that I think Xavi should go back playing Christensen as a centre back than as a defensive midfielder. Why don't you play Gundogan as a defensive midfielder? Gundogan can play there. Why don't you play him instead? Kabisi is good, no doubt, but he has a lot to learn. Until he gets to the point whereby he's learning, where he's going to the point where he's learned enough, I don't think he should be starting games constantly because his mistake yesterday cost us. Yes, it wasn't because of the 3 goals, but there was little he could do to impact the game. The pace of Madrid was just too much for the young man. And then we move on to the fact that Jude Bellingham has marked himself as the number 1 contender for the Ballon d'Or. Somehow, this man knows how to be in the right place at the right time. I don't understand it. Like, the 3rd goal for Real Madrid. First off, I'm pissed off with my defender because nobody was picking Vinicius Junior up. I felt that was Koundé's job to pick. I said Vinicius Junior picking Jude Bellingham up because I felt that was Koundé's job to pick Bellingham up, but he didn't, and Bellingham scored. But the time at which Bellingham scored that goal ended the game. Just like in the first leg of the Clasico where we lost 2-1 with Bellingham shooting a stunner from almost 30 yards out. And then he comes in, he wins the game again, and now he's like the basic contender for the Ballon d'Or. Oh, no doubt. So I think that Bellingham has a chance of winning the Ballon d'Or with the way he's going. If Madrid should win the league, I know that Vinicius will not be considered. So most likely, this man is up for a Ballon d'Or. There is no way he's not up for a Ballon d'Or. He's having a phenomenal season. I think that's going to make it 17 goals in the league, 21 in total. He's having a great season. You can't take away the fact that Jude Bellingham is the player that Madrid has had to depend on a lot this season when it comes to the goals, and he has not disappointed. And what a season that young man is having. And now we move over to the Premier League where Arsenal and Liverpool continue their title challenge. And what a game it was for Arsenal, beating Wolves 2-0 with goal from Lisandro Trossard and Odegaard. It was a great game. Arsenal had control of that game. It was the performance they needed, knowing that they lost against Bayern, which I am still shocked that they lost against a Bayern side that had struggled to make an impact to their season, losing their league title with up to 15 points. It was a shocking result for Arsenal. But they did come back in good fashion. Will I say Arsenal played at the best that we've known them to play? No. But did Arsenal find a way to win? Yes. And there's one thing I always say. A win is a win, whether you win it neat or you win it dirty. Looking at the performance of Arsenal's players, the likes of Lisandro Trossard, he was amazing in that game. Came out at the right places, was able to score. The likes of Odegaard. Saka, on the other hand, I'm going to say his form has dropped. Doesn't make him a bad player though. I still think Saka is one of the best young talents we have in the world of football today. I still think so. But his form has dropped. Maybe due to fatigue. Maybe because he's been playing a lot of games for Arsenal. And at this point in time, I feel that maybe they need to rest him more. He hasn't been at the top of his game. Gabriel Jesus. We have to stop for a moment to talk about Gabriel Jesus. I need to point this out. It is not enough for you to know how to dribble. As a striker, when you can't score, why are you striking? We need to start talking about the fact that Gabriel Jesus is good on the ball. We cannot argue that. But when it comes to scoring goals, you can't rely on this guy. You cannot rely on Gabriel Jesus. Does Arsenal need a striker? They do. Kai Havertz is not a 9. He is not a 9. He's a supporting striker. He's not a striker itself. So, Gabriel Jesus, who is supposed to be playing as a 9, cannot convert. Kai Havertz to me was not even in the game against Wolves, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, they won the game, but it was not in the game against Wolves. But if Gabriel Jesus cannot give you the goals, Kai Havertz cannot give you the goals, it's time you begin to look for new options. And that's just my take for Arsenal. You need to start looking for new 9s. Find a way to buy into Osimhen's contract and buy him. Or buy a 9 that's currently in top form. Because as far as I'm concerned, Arsenal cannot win league titles with the kind of strikers they have. You don't have a goal poacher in your team. You don't. Great team, great play. I love what Arteta is doing with the team. but they do not have a 9 that they can depend on. Kai Havertz is not dependable. Gabriel Jesus is not dependable. Good dribbler of the ball, but very poor at converting. Kai Havertz, I don't even know what he's good at. I shall know that he's on the pitch. Do Arsenal need a new 9? Yes, they do. Do Arsenal need more support? Do they need to buy a supporting player for Saka? Yes, they do, because Vieira supposedly has not met up to the standards that we would say, okay, he could play for Saka a little, although he's not an out-and-out winger, to be honest. Saka needs a replacement, because at some point in the season, he's doing too much, he's fatigued. We also have to talk about Martinelli, who, I will not lie, his form has dropped. He's no more taking on players the way we know Martinelli to take on players. He's not doing that anymore. His form has dropped, but he's still a world-class winger in the modern game. He does well. I'm not gonna come and say negative things about Martinelli, because he has shown that he can be that guy, but he has not been that guy for a few games now, and it's troubling. But then Arsenal finds a way to win. It's all good. They are at the top of the table till Man City plays. Me, I still don't see Man City losing their match, even if Arsenal is topping table. Arsenal fans not vex. And then we move on to Liverpool. Liverpool's game against Fulham. I said it initially when I made the video earlier on Saturday. Fulham did give them a tough time. It wasn't an easy game for Liverpool. It wasn't a walk in the park for Liverpool when the game started. Yes, Liverpool got the first goal. Trent Arnold, what a beautiful free kick. And equalizer came in a few minutes later from Pereira. And at that moment in time, you would question and be like, oh, can Liverpool win this game? I did not trust Gravenberch in that game. He was not playing. Yes, he managed to get the second goal, but he was not playing. But he did get the second goal. Good for him. Liverpool did get the third goal. The game was balanced. But the point is this. When we look at Liverpool's performance, the level at which they played when the season started and the level at which they are playing now, the intensity has dropped. Watching the game against Fulham, they found a way to win, no doubt. But the intensity in the way they pressure, the intensity in the way they attack, the intensity in the way they move, it has dropped a lot. Fulham were not able to meet up. They lost the game fine and good. And also we have to talk about Mo Salah. What is wrong with that man's controlling the ball? His control has been poor all season. I cannot take away the fact that Mo Salah is a prolific goal scorer, but we'll be lying to ourselves if we say that we don't know that guy has been controlling Oshi of late. That guy has been controlling cast. Salah. Salah wants to bring down the ball. The ball is bringing down Salah. What is going on? He finds a way to score. He finds a way to drop the passes, but his control has been poor. His first touches has not been as impressive as before. Will we say age is catching up with Salah? I won't say that. He's just 32. But then, Salah, his game, getting the goals but not having the right touches when they matter is a big issue that needs to be looked at. It does. It really needs to be looked at. But then, Liverpool found a way to win, sitting second on the table till Man City plays. And then we go to the FA Cup. Chelsea vs Man City. The game also had controversies, because I believe that Chelsea should be awarded the penalty in that game. Somehow they were not awarded the penalty. I don't understand how that happened, that they were not awarded the penalty. But before we go into the penalty, can we talk about Nicholas Jackson and his abilities not to see a post that is so big? Nicholas Jackson had a chance to put Chelsea in the league, not once, but twice. And what did he do? He saw the post and he was afraid to score. That's the only way to put it. Man saw the post and was afraid to score. I don't understand. How do you dribble past a goalkeeper? Oh my God. How do you dribble past a goalkeeper and continue to drift towards the other side of the pitch? Nicholas Jackson would have put Chelsea ahead in that game. But what did he do? He threw away the chance. Few games before that, he was dragging a penalty. When it mattered most to score a goal for Chelsea, which would have been their chance at a first silverware, what does he do? He throws the ball away. Chelsea need another 9. Nicholas Jackson, I love what he did at Villarreal. He was a great player for Villarreal, but he's not that player anymore. And I'm sorry, Nicholas Jackson, you shouldn't be starting with the way you're playing. No, 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 no. If I was the coach of that team, you would be on the bench. No offense to who you are. Right now, I say this with my full chest. The only player I see at Chelsea doing what he's doing is Cole Palmer. The rest of them, I don't know what they are doing. I was pissed off for a lot of reasons. Yes, Man City got the goal through Bernardo Silva. He redeemed himself from the Madrid penalty incident. Came in, got the goal. Man City's performances can never be faulted. I can never come on this stream and say, on this review and say, oh, Man City had a poor performance. How now? How? We can say, okay, Erling Haaland had a poor performance, this one, but you can never say Man City as a team had a poor performance. Chelsea, on the other hand, they had a good performance as well, but the goals were not coming because they did not have a person that could convert. The likes of Madueke, I have no issue with Madueke. Good dribbler on the ball, but that boy has no vision for a pass. Players are making runs, you are there turning. What are you turning? Drop this ball. Kopama is right in front of you. Play this one too quick and move. But what is he doing? He's turning. And after the game, when Chelsea lost, you could see a video of Thiago Silva, hand in his face, crying. And what was Madueke doing? He was sharing jokes with Jack Grealish. There is no passion in this Chelsea team. As far as I'm concerned, people like Madueke also should be on the bench. Because even on their best game, they are still playing rubbish. No offense. And then Chelsea lost to Man City. Man City are in the finals of the FA Cup. They may not do the treble this season, but they might get another FA Cup win off Man United, which is the next thing we are talking about, the Manchester United Coventry game. Let me say this. I stand to rebuff what Erik ten Hag said in an interview where he said that the performance was not embarrassing. It was not just embarrassing, it was a downgrade to what we know Manchester United for. How do you go from 3-0 to 3-3 and say it's not embarrassing for a club like Manchester United, 13 times winners of the Premier League, one of the best teams in the league, and you open your mouth and say that performance you gave against Coventry, a championship side, who currently is not even first or fourth on the table, you ended up drawing 3-3 and had to win through penalties. And you say it was not embarrassing. What can be more embarrassing than that? How do you go from 1, 2, 3, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, and then you instantly throw away a 3-goal lead, and you're saying it's not embarrassing? Let's talk about Manchester United's play. Let's look at some players' performances. Marcus Rashford should not be starting in that team anymore. He is not putting in the performances. I don't hate Marcus Rashford, but I've been a big critic of Marcus Rashford since this season started because why? He is not showing that he deserves to be in the first team. Marcus Rashford has come into a game, has not shown desire. Look at the game against Coventry. He was not even acting as if there was any need to get serious. Bruno Fernandes showed performance. Menino showed performance. I couldn't blame Casemiro. He was playing as a centre back. Not his fault, but he still gave a good performance. Gave me a pass to Rashford that I felt Rashford would have converted, but he didn't convert. And then, okay, Man United went 3 goals up. And then the game continued to evolve. Coventry got the first goal, the second, the third. And almost got a fourth, if not for that offside call that was very close and very tight. But what does this end up pointing out? It goes back to my original statement. Ten Hag is not suited, is not qualified to coach a Premier League side as big as Manchester United. And the boss you think of letting him go come the end of the season. I wish Ten Hag well. I hope he gets another job after this. But trust me when I tell you this, that guy is not suited to coach that team. Second of all is most of those players, the likes of Marcus Rashford, the likes of Anthony Martial, so many players on the bench. It's time to go. Man United need an overhaul. That team is not doing well. If you can draw against Coventry, how do you think you're going to beat Man City? I say it right here on this podcast and come back and tell me when the game is over that Man City will beat Man United in the FA Cup final again for a second time. I don't see Man United winning that game, not with that performance I saw yesterday. 3 goals. And the funny part of the 3 goals was how porous the defending was. I complained about the second goal, which was a deflected shot that hit Wan-Bissaka and went to the net. What is wrong with defenders these days? Why are you dodging the ball? You know if you stand mark. Can't you put your body on the line for your club? Gone are the days, the likes of the Cannavaros, the likes of the Mancinis, the likes of the Nestas, the Maldinis, the Sergio Ramos, the Pepes, when they were still in their prime, the Lily Thuram, the Stamps. They would put their body on the line for the shot. But what do these modern day players do? John Terry's too. What do these modern day players do? They see the ball and they dodge. Van Dijk will show his back. You be woman. And then Man United had to win through penalties. Embarrassing. Very embarrassing. If not for any reason, the fact that it's against Coventry makes it more embarrassing. That is a team that Man United has never struggled to play against. And look at them now struggling to play against that same side. It was a shameful performance from Manchester United. And to be honest, they were lucky to make it down to the final. But then it's Manchester City versus Manchester United for the final. And if you ask me who is going to win that game, you already know my answer. Manchester City for the win. I think they're going to bash that game at least 3-1 or 2-0 at most. But then again, what an exciting week of football. Every game that went down provided us the juice. We enjoyed the game. And we cannot wait for another exciting week of football.